So I did hear about something crazy lately, though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, thorium nuclear power. Yeah, much better than uranium enriched power. Just like right off the bat, the main reason it's better is because you know how like when a uranium reactor melts down or something goes wrong, it's fucking shit goes bad. Well, it doesn't even really explode, but
It can.
well, actually it can't. A lot of people
Really?
think it can. Yeah, I've done. Yeah, I actually found that out researching the thorium reactors. Uranium reactors don't explode.
Really?
But
So, what they show in the movies really doesn't.
no, yeah, that doesn't happen.
There's something new every day.
Yeah, they don't blow up. But what happens is like they'll melt down, and what the actual meltdown is you know the fucking uranium ends up dropping to the bottom, and it just sits there and burns up until all the radioactive materials are gone. And that's what causes all the problems because it just sits there and spews radiation. The whole building is meant to try to contain the radiation. Is the way they design the whole reactors. So that if something does go wrong, hopefully they can contain it in that building and just shut down the building and no one goes in there for, you know, like fucking, what is it, quarter of a million years or whatever it takes for
No shit.
radiation to go away. Yeah, but for, well, like even Chernobyl though, like people, you can go there now and, you know, I mean, sure there's parts of Chernobyl that you don't want to go down into because it's closer to the reactor. But yeah, you can go outside of it and walk around. There's plants and there's animals and shit living there again. I mean, and you can go there and experience actually lower radiation in certain areas around Chernobyl than like, you know, just being in a plane up in the atmosphere. So, I mean, it's not as bad as people think, but still, the idea of a thorium reactor, as far as fail safes, they have first off, the thorium that they use whenever they put salt into it, it basically stabilizes it and kills the radiation. And what they do is they have a salt block that's being cooled, a salt ice block that's being cooled by like compressed gas. You know, it's the pipe that it's in is being cooled all the time. And if a problem goes wrong and meltdown starts, what happens is they stop cooling that pipe. That's the first thing that happens. That pipe stops getting cooled. And the salt will melt and go down into the system and shut everything down. So I mean, just by fail-safe, thorium reactors are much better. Granted, no one's ever really built one though. We know they work. Like we've built them on small scale, but no one's actually built one as a power plant. And the real crazy part is, for one, thorium is way more abundant than uranium. Uranium is actually a pretty rare resource, and on top of that, it takes way less thorium to obtain a nuclear reaction to get the power. So, like, basically, the amount of thorium that we could harvest out of one thorium mine annually could power all the world for 1 year. So just what we could pull out of one mine in 1 year could be enough to power every reactor in the world for all year. So there's sustainability. You know, I mean, there's fucking, probably, I don't know, on the map I seen it looked like several dozen, you know, maybe 30 or 40 big mines, but I'm sure there's way more than that, the way they describe the abundance of it. And another cool thing is that I discovered while researching these thorium reactors is I realized that this is the real reason why, like, the UN and the US put sanctions on, like, Iran and North Korea, and they don't want them to use nuclear power. They don't want them to have the enriched uranium. It has nothing to do with the fact that they can make weapons out of it. I'm starting to figure that out. What it is because uranium is such a rare resource, the rest of the world that already has it and is using it doesn't want to share it because they know it's going to be gone soon. So we want to be the ones to use it. We don't want to let anyone else in on the game, is what it is. Because, you know, that's what the media tries to portray, that, oh, you know, weapons-grade uranium, weapons-grade nuclear material. Well, yeah, uranium can be refined into weapons, which thorium can't, is also another plus to thorium. Can't make weapons out of it. But yeah, really the key is they don't want to share. They don't want to share a rare commodity. And it was kind of a realization. I mean, there's no real proof to that, but I kind of realized that, yeah, it has nothing to do with the weapons. It's just they don't want to share. which doesn't surprise me. I mean,
Makes sense.
the powerful governments of the world got that way by being capitalist, greedy bastards.
Oh, we're gonna go to war for this, and we're gonna go to war. How about we quit going to war and we just work together?
Yeah, and well, I look at it this way though, like people who file a false DMC, or I forget what exactly the abbreviation is, but basically it's a copyright claim on YouTube. If I say I use your material and you think it violates the copyright of your material on YouTube, so you raise a intention. Well, I shouldn't have said it that way. You know that it doesn't violate the copyright, but you don't want me to use your material. Or it's not really your material, you just don't like what I'm saying about you in the video.
Mm.
And so you file a false complaint saying that I was using your material to get my video taken down. Well, you can actually be held accountable under perjury laws for making a false complaint for copyright.
No shit.
So if someone can be held legally accountable for making a false copyright complaint, like a complaint about a copyright, then shouldn't we hold presidential candidates under perjury for lying about what they're going to do when they get in office when they turn around and do the opposite? Now, I mean, to me that doesn't really count if they say they're going to do something they really don't have the power to do, which a lot of them do. And that, to me, that's just dishonest. It's not really perjury. That's just them taking advantage of people's ignorance. But when they say something that they know that that's not what they're going to do, and they turn around and do the opposite, that's fucking perjury to me.
Yeah. Same damn thing.
Yeah, and that's worse than a false copyright claim. We're talking about our nation, Like, what the fuck?
So we could sue our nation. We could sue our forefathers.
Well, I mean, people have sued the government for stupider shit and won.
Oh, I'm sure there's ways that you could get that.
Yeah, I just think it's bullshit, though, that these presidential candidates can get in there and get elected on false hope, false promises that they have no intention of keeping. And then when they get in office and they do the exact opposite of what they said, no one fucking holds them to it. There's no repercussions.
It's because they're threatened. Or they're blackmailed.
But still, we should hold them accountable. Whatever's going on behind the scenes, that can be dealt with because of it. They need to be held accountable for that shit.
Yeah.
When they knowingly lie about their policies. And they switch sides so radically, so fast. Now, changing your policies over time is going to happen when you learn new things and when you grow as a person and you learn to be a little more open-minded or accept a different point of view. But
Yeah.
to say you're going to do something right before you get elected president, turn around and get elected and do the complete opposite of that, like, for example, Obama, when he said that he was going to stop the DEA from raiding all dispensaries that comply with local state laws, and we're going to focus on only the illegal ones under state law, the ones doing illegal shit. Yeah, well, more dispensaries were raided during the Obama administration's first 2 years than any other president. And he said that he was going to stop it. And then he turns around and raids more than any other president.
Dude, he was just down blowing smoke out of his ass.
Well, once again, that's one of those things where he didn't have complete control over that. But the president has a lot of influence over the DEA. The president can tell the DEA, hey, stop doing this. And the Congress would have backed him up on it. They would have been like, well, if they're following state laws, according to the Constitution, state law trumps federal law unless it's in the best interest of the people. That's the only time we can tell them otherwise. Congress would have followed along with it. Congress typically does their job pretty well. I used to have a bias against all the politicians, but Congress is probably the least corrupt of the branches of our government. The judiciary branch is pretty easily corrupted, and so is the executive branch. But Congress, they're pretty good about it. They stay pretty true to form, and they try to represent the Constitution and the policies to the best of their ability. Sometimes they fuck up, sometimes they're a little stupid. I mean, they're people. But I listen to a lot of those like boards and hearings that they have on certain things, like the cannabis legalization one. Obviously, I listened to. There was one about reform of police tactics and stuff like that I listened to. And yeah, typically these people on these boards, which are Congress members, that get selected for these boards, like 8 to 10 of them at a time, and they are all really rational people. Like they get pissed when the people they're talking to try to sugarcoat something or direct from a fact that they know is true, and just try to keep the typical stigmas going.
Yeah.
Like they get mad. They laugh at them too. Like they have no shame in fucking laughing at them when they make a stupid comment. Like this one on the cannabis one, he was asking the director of the DEA. He was asking him, so do you believe, as director of the DEA, do you believe that marijuana is as harmful as cocaine or heroin? Wouldn't give him an answer. I mean, he tried to, dance around it. Well, yeah, because, or he didn't even say yeah. He's like, well, we have statistics showing blah, 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 and just completely avoiding the point. And so he rephrased the question. He said, okay, do you think that marijuana is as harmful as alcohol? Same thing, started avoiding the question. And he got mad. He stopped, that specific guy, he stopped talking to that other guy. He started asking his questions to everyone else. He's like, whatever, the director of this DEA is going to be a jackass. I'm not even going to refer to him anymore.
I would have said it.
And you know what it is, though? It's because the DEA has interest in that.
Yeah,
if they make marijuana legal, the DEA is going to cease to exist. Or at least cease to exist as it does now.
I don't see how. You still got meth out there.
But they're going to lose a lot of funding. Because that's where a lot of their fucking busts come from, is marijuana.
Yeah, well, it should have never been illegal in the first place.
Reefer madness, racial bigotry, and stereotypes. And then the oil companies and lumber industry stepped in after it was all said and done and made sure it was a law. After they got everyone all worked up into a hysterical frenzy, it was easy for the corporations to capitalize on the chance.
Instead, they made liquor illegal that you have to human make.
Well, yeah, me and Nathan were talking about how we would be okay with it even if they fucking made alcohol illegal again and legalized pot. Like if they just flip-flopped it, we'd be happy.
I think a lot of people actually would. Because a lot of people, dude, today you should be able to know how to make your beer or wine and shit. Like seriously, if you don't.
Well, we were talking about that too, how it's not illegal to go
Make
buy
it.
a homemade brewing kit.
Oh, it's not.
And
It's
buy
only
and
illegal
make
to
beer.
sell it out of your house.
Right.
That's why my dad never charged anybody. He just gave them a 6-pack of stuff. Yeah, enjoy that. Tell me anything about that. We seriously had a guy. He's like, oh, I can drink beer, Budweiser, like 2 or 3 pack a day, 30 packs. My dad's like, I guarantee you have 2 beers in line and you won't even get down the street. The guy laughed. I remember this as a kid, and that's when me and Daryl were bottling it for him. And the guy comes over, and he hands him a 6-pack of homemade beer, regular bottles. He goes, it says Budweiser, but I guarantee it's the best Budweiser you ever had. The guy goes, oh yeah, and he chugs one. He goes, alright, well there's one. I'll have this gone by the time I get down the street. Dude, the next morning going to school, this dude's truck was he got 5 blocks pulled over. Well, I guess me and Daryl overheard him Tony talking to Mom. He goes, yeah, that motherfucker came back that morning after the kids left. He said he seen him walking to school. He says, I gotta owe you an apology. He goes, why is that? He goes, because that first one hit. And the second one I drank as I was driving off. And he says, let me tell you, I had to pull over because I was so dizzy already. It wasn't funny. And he's like, I passed out in the car. My dad goes, I told you.